Guys, it's Stephen here, back with another video, and as promised the other day, though it didn't quite come the next day as I said, this is the second part of the big 2019-20 loan watch, but I thought would be a very good time to finish this series off, given there's nothing else to talk about really. Anyway, I hope you're all keeping well, hope your family are safe and you're staying indoors, washing your hands and protecting the NHS, to quote someone else. But before we get into all that kind of stuff, and I won't go there again, I promise you, I want to say thank you to my latest sponsor, The Athletic. I partnered with The Athletic. They are the new home of football writing, with the best coverage of Manchester City and football that you'll find anywhere online, with a team of world-class writers including David Ornstein, Michael Cox, Jack Pitt-Brooks, Rafa Einstein, and of course our very own Sam Lee, who returned today with a new little one in tow. Congratulations to Sam Lee, who's become a proud father, and I'm dead happy for him. Hopefully as well he'll be on the channel in a few days. But anyway, you can get 50% off your Athletic subscription right now at theathletic.co.uk/esteemed company. You get a 7-day free trial and obviously that 50% off too. And it's very much worth it. It keeps you sane. It's kept me sane during this, having things to read about football. It also includes the likes of this article from the returning Sam Lee about City being hopeful that their Court of Arbitration of Sport hearing against financial fair play could actually happen inside the next couple of months. City want it to happen via video conference call, which is obviously huge given the implications, because they need to know whether they're going to be in the Champions League whenever that returns, because it'll affect the standing with players. So go check it out in the link in the description below. But today we're going to talk about all these loan players. I've had to do a lot of research for this, so you have to bear with me if I'm checking my notes quite a lot, because some of these players are so obscure. There's a couple of players I didn't really know City even had, put it that way. I'm going to start with a set of brothers that I did know City have. I'm going to start with Luca Ilic, who's on loan at NEC Breda. He signed alongside his younger brother, Ivan Ilic, who we'll get onto in a little bit. Luca himself is 20 now. He did struggle a little bit early on the season in a very rotating team. He was constantly out of position. He was played out on the left when he prefers to be out on the right, cutting in onto his stronger foot. And he likes to dribble in and cut in and shoot. Very much a typical winger in that front. But he's become a key player now for NEC. They are in the second tier of Dutch football and they're currently sat in 5th, so they're doing pretty well. Well, they were doing pretty well, I guess, until football was paused. He had 25 appearances, 5 goals, 4 assists, and he's involved in all the games apart from 4. So basically, he is a key player for them. Having said that, I'm not really expecting to reach Manchester City's level, of course, but he looks like he's going to carve out a pretty decent career for himself. Likewise, his younger brother, who seems to be maybe the one people are a little bit more excited about. He's just turned 19. He's also a key member of NEC's squad. He's playing well there. He's had 21 appearances, 3 games and 1 goal. And he's sat in midfield dictating play for them. He scored actually as well as NEC knocked out PSV in the domestic cup there. He scored in that game as they won 2-0. His brother played as well. And largely, he's been pretty good for what I can gather. He looks like a really nice little player. I've seen 1 goal he scored back in September when he ran around the keeper, cut back in and smacked it in to the roof. And he's doing pretty well. He's still a low level, of course, and he's got a long way to go, but it looks like they're both doing pretty well out there, so fingers crossed they keep improving, and if they're not useful to City, we can get a few quid from them. One of the definite positives is Yangel Herrera. Now, this guy has been really good over at Granada. He's only just 22. He's already doing very well in La Liga. Now, he actually started out on loan from the City Football Group at New York City. He was playing alongside Pirlo. I think he was being managed by Vieira at the time, and he did really well. Like, he was one of the best midfielders over in the MLS, and then he went to Huesca in La Liga as well. Did pretty decent there before getting this loan this year to Granada, and he's done very good. Honestly, they've been punching above their weight. They're 9th currently in La Liga as the season was paused, and he's basically been ever present for them. He did have a month out of injury, but he's become one of the most watch midfielders in European football, I would say. He's nowhere near, obviously, Manchester City's level yet, but he's very highly rated. He's very combative. He's very box-to-box. He's got a lot of energy. He averages 3.6 tackles per game, which is up there with the best in Europe, genuinely, and he seems to be very promising. He picked up a couple of good headline displays with good performances against the likes of Real and Barcelona, and this guy's a talent. If we don't make it with Manchester City, we'll make a good profit on this guy. Looks really interesting. Maybe someone will hear a lot more about in the future. On to Luke Bolton. I really like Luke Bolton. He's a good player, a good lad, and the kind of guy who's going to have a very good career. I don't think he'll be Manchester City's level, but I think at some point he will make his way back to the Premier League. Now, this is his second loan. He's on loan at Luton. Last year he was on loan League One side Wycombe Wanderers, and eventually he did all right there in a little kind of few cameo appearances, and then he got basically a step up. He got a loan to Luton, who are in the Championship. Now, Luton are struggling. They're down right near the bottom in 23rd Why can't I even say that? They're down in 23rd. Why did I feel like it needed to have another word after that? Anyway, they're struggling basically, but he's been a pretty good squad player for them. He's not played every game, but the Luton fans, from what I can gather, do like his all-action kind of style. Now, he was a winger when he was younger, but he's turned into something as a right back for as he's got older. He's only 20 now, and he's in the England under-20 squad as well. He's averaged around 40 minutes per game over 23 appearances, which is around 1,000 minutes total. And he's a good, likeable player. Obviously, it's not a kind of loan that's going to change anything hugely for his career, but he looks like he's getting better and more confident. And fingers crossed next year he gets another loan and starts to grow into his own game and feel more comfortable as he gets older. And he might surprise a few people at some point in the future. On to Paolo Fernandes. He very much feels like a forgotten man, Paolo. I think it's because he's been playing, I guess, away from the City football group. Paolo Fernandes at one point was really highly rated. He was the kind of guy, he ripped up the Premier League under 23 league. He was very good, but he was always kind of very inconsistent, very intermittent shows of talent, like a very skillful, very small, explosive winger at his very best in terms of he could beat his man, he could rasp a long-range shot in. He did have a loan at NEC last year and did pretty well as a squad player, and this year he's been at Perugia in Serie B over in Italy. He's only become a squad player though, only 13 appearances. Apparently, according to something I found online, he had a few good games where he impressed people, but then he's been back to being underwhelming. He's 21. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't leave when the season ends. On to Claudio Gomes, another one where big things were expected and nothing's happened for Claudio Gomes. He's 19 years old now. He came with a massive reputation. At one point, Kyle Walker went on record as saying he's the most exciting talent we had in terms of young players, but it's just not really happened for him at all. He's had that one solitary appearance, I think, or a couple of solitary appearances. And it's been a weird one for Claudio Gomes. He went on loan to PSV, but he's basically been with their B team, or PSV Young, as they call it, playing in the second tier of Dutch football. They've struggled big time. They're in 18th out of 20 teams, which is pretty bad. That's lower than NEC, put it that way. And even though he's played regularly, 21 appearances with them, I mean, he's not really been pulling up any trees. I mean, it's probably hard because I've not really seen much of him, but I'm gonna say, a guy who's, playing near the bottom of the second tier of Dutch football isn't going to be anywhere near Manchester City's first team at any time soon unless he did something pretty special. We'll keep an eye on him, but it doesn't feel like it's gone particularly well this year. I mean, it's not one that's really progressed his career, I don't think. I'd be very surprised if Claudio Gomes is at Manchester City in a couple of years, unfortunately. On to another guy that people were quite excited by, Felix Correia. We got him from Lisbon in the summer last year for a fee of around €7 million. People were very excited by this guy because he'd been really impressive for Portugal's youth teams and Lisbon's youth teams. He was known as a very skillful player, very graceful, very elegant. Some people said he was the next Nani. But he's not really kind of been involved in AZ Alkmaar's first team. He went on loan to the Eredivisie team, but he's played the season in the second tier for their reserve team. Alkmaar have been flying in the Eredivisie. They're up in second at the moment behind Ajax, but he's not been anywhere near that squad. He's been regularly though for their reserve team. They're 14th they're 14th in the second tier of Dutch football. He's got 23 appearances, 3 goals and 5 appearances. He is only young still, only 19 I think, so he's got plenty of time on his side. But at the moment, he's got a long way to go. Maybe he's one of those that will kind of make a small profit on at some point. Maybe he'll kind of adapt a little bit more and get a good move next season. But for now, he's got a long way to go to get to Manchester City's level. This guy I know basically absolutely nap all about. I know his name, Erik Brown. He's an American centre-back that's had a whole bunch of loans, including, obviously, the obligatory NEC Breda loan. He's now at Austria Vienna, which over in the Austrian League, of course, in the Austrian Bundesliga. And he's been kind of regular for them. They finished mid-table in their very weird kind of, they've got one of those player formats where the league kind of splits after a certain point. They were mid-table and didn't make the championship playoffs. He's had 14 appearances, 1 goal and 1 assist. I could not tell you how he's played. Honestly, I'd be lying if I said it had. But he's 22. He's playing in Austria. I'd be very surprised if he comes back to Manchester City. Maybe he could do some kind of Pablo Mari kind of career. He was 23 when he was at NEC Breda. Now look where he's at. He's at Arsenal after doing really well at Flamengo. Maybe Erik Brown could take a really weird route to the top. Who knows? It could happen for him. Good luck to the guy. On to a guy that I didn't even know Manchester City had really. I mean, I heard it, but I forgot he was a Manchester City player. Rytaro Meshino. He's never been anywhere near Manchester City, of course. He was signed last summer from Gamba Osaka. He's a young, attacking, exciting Japanese international. 21 21-year-old attacker. He's on loan at Hearts. Yep, Hearts in the SPL. And he's been kind of a squad player for them. He started off really, really promising. The fans really liked him. He started off really good near the start of the season. He had like a few really impressive games. He scored a couple of wonderful goals. He's very technical, a very skillful player, likes to beat people. And apparently he's seen a massive Japanese increase in the fan base of Hearts, which they tried to capitalise on as well. Fair play to them. But he's not really been involved since then. 19 appearances, 9 starts, 3 goals and 1 assist. He's barely been involved the past 3 months, and he's basically been on the bench, which is a shame. Maybe it's just been difficult for him to adapt to life living at Hearts, I guess. I mean, he's from Japan. It must be weird for a young Japanese guy to go and live in Scotland all of a sudden. It's a bit of a culture shock. But he's very talented. I'm sure he'll get another move somewhere. But he's obviously one. It's probably a City Football Group loan as opposed to a Manchester City loan, let's be honest. On to Lukas Nmecha. He was kind of decent last year for Lukas Nmecha at Preston. He scored a few goals. Even though he was never incredible, Preston fans were like, yeah, we like this guy, he's pretty good and whatever. And he got a move which I thought was a bit optimistic, if I'm being honest. I know he's got like German roots and he does represent Germany at youth level. He went to Wolfsburg though. I thought that was a bit of a step up. That was always a bit confident. I mean, I hoped I was wrong, but it felt like he was going to have a hell of a task to try and get into that team, given Wolfsburg's status, I guess, in the Bundesliga. And it felt bold and it didn't really work out. He had a few appearances off the bench and a few off the bench in Europa League games, but no goals, and he couldn't ever really get a foothold in the team, which led to him being recalled and sent on loan to Middlesbrough alongside Patrick Roberts, who were mentioned in the first loan video, which you can go check out as well after this video. He had a few appearances off the bench as well at Middlesbrough, a couple of starts as well, and he kind of became a squad player for the North East side. But nothing's really happened until the season was paused, of course. He's 21 now, Lukas. I wouldn't be surprised if he's thinking about maybe a loan next year, then moving on from Manchester City. He's got loads of talent, but it's not quite clicked for him yet. Maybe it could just be one of those things where it takes him a few years, but this guy's very talented, but for whatever reason, it's not happened yet. Fingers crossed it will do. On to Thierry Ambrose. So unfortunate for Thierry. I really like Thierry Ambrose. I feel like injuries have really rocked his career, and a bit of bad luck, a bit of bad management on Manchester City's behalf, in my opinion, has kind of not really helped him. Now, he had loads of injuries. At one point, he was flying at Manchester City for the academy teams, and he was about to be involved with the first team until he got injured a lot. Pellegrini was a big fan of him, apparently. But either way, he still did bounce back with a pretty good spell at NEC in the Eredivisie in 17-18. He was only young, and he played very well there. He scored 10 goals in 30 games for a team that was kind of struggling, and got 6 assists. 6 assists, which is pretty decent. You know, it's genuinely a good return for a team that was basically kind of, one of the lower teams. I think did they get relegated that year? I don't think they did, or did they? Maybe they did, but either way, he was good for them. He was also alongside Angelino on that team. Now, that should have led to a better loan than the one he got, in my opinion. He went to RC Lens over in League 2 in France. He dropped down to the second tier in France, which for me felt a bit like, I feel like if he's done pretty well and scored goals in the Eredivisie, he probably should have got a better loan than that. But for whatever reason, he didn't. And that's on Manchester City, in my humble opinion. He did play plenty of times for RC Lens in League 2. He played 40 games, so he was a first-team regular. He only scored 5 goals, though, and got 4 assists. So he wasn't particularly a great goal scorer there. But I don't know if he was playing for the middle or out wide. And this season has been at Metz, actually in League 1, so he got a promotion, I guess. But he's been very much a squad player. 19 appearances and no goals and no assists, which is a big shame. I really like Thierry, but for whatever reason, his career is kind of slightly stalling at the moment. I mean, he is only I think he's 23 or something like that. He's got time to kind of make a name for himself somewhere, but he's probably going to have to leave Manchester City to do it. And given his contract's up in the summer, I expect that will happen. He'll leave, and best wishes to him. On to Marlos Moreno. This guy is still at Manchester City somehow. Yep, he's 23 now. A weird one, isn't it? At one point when we got him, I think we got him at the same time as Gabriel Jesus. There was people in South America, respected pundits, who rated him as highly as Gabriel Jesus. And he was like the star of the Copa Libertadores. He was fantastic. And we got this guy that a lot of people were very excited by, the Colombian winger. And he went on loan to Deportivo in La Liga, which was a huge move for him. And he struggled. He couldn't really get into the team. They were citing he was a little bit lazy. Then he went on loan to Girona, and he struggled there as well. Then he went to Flamengo in Brazil, and he was a squad player, did kind of okay. Then he went to Santos Laguna in Mexico. He scored 6 and assisted 8 there, so he did pretty well over in Mexico. And then he got a chance basically at a European League again at Portimonense in Portugal. They're 17th out of 18, and he's become a squad player for them with 18 appearances. He's just floating about. I'm pretty certain he'll leave in the summer or whenever the season ends, of course. It's a weird one. I'm surprised that he's here. Sometimes you've got to take these punts, I guess, but it's not worked at all. Anyway, that is it. I'm sure there's a player or two that I've missed. I mean, what do you make of this? What do you make of all the loan players? Man City's loan policy hasn't been that great, in my opinion. There's been a few small successes. Yangel Herrera in particular. Luke Bolton's a moderate success, in my humble opinion. And there's a few in the first video, which you can go watch out too. But largely, it's been very more miss than hit, I would say. Guys, go and check out theathletic.co.uk/Esteemed Kompany for 50% off your 7-day free trial as well. And it's wonderful. The home of world-class writing. Go and subscribe it. Alleviate your boredom and all that kind of stuff. And tomorrow I'll be back with another video, hopefully with Sam Lee as well. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you to all these guys here, my patrons. I love you all absolutely loads. Patreon.com/Esteemed Kompany if you want to help this channel keep going. For now, in a bit.